McKenzie Angels were born quite some time ago between a wonderful woman who's not with us anymore, Paulette Cooper. She had been victimized big time, and had acted as a McKenzie friend in lots of ways. But we felt that we needed some McKenzie Angels, actually at the time, just as a presence in the public gallery of courts. Now we kind of revitalize these angels because I guess as McKenzie Friends we're at the end of our tether and we need to do more. The idea of public protection advocacy came up because one of our longtime McKenzie Friends is on an advocacy course, and so we've looked at the various levels of advocacy that exist and have existed, where ours as public interest has now to change into public protection for very serious reasons. If you look at what an advocate is, he's ultimately somebody who speaks on behalf of somebody else. So in a way, we are a voice for the voiceless when we speak on behalf of children or get justice anyway. So McKenzie Friends have been acting in individual cases as lay legal advisors, but on the public interest level, they have discovered systemic patterns that underlie what is happening in family courts, which are secret, and in civil and criminal courts that are not secret. So we are addressing the system of professionals in public institutions, and that's what lots and lots of parents and grandparents who've lost their children can't appreciate. Of course, they want us to help, and I wish we could, and we've tried our best. But this is partly an attempt to convey why it's been so difficult for everybody, and why we have had a bit of success in Europe, though. So the big difference is the secrecy between the different kinds of courts, and most people don't realize that that is unusual and specific for the UK. And as the former MP John Hemming said, parents don't stand a chance when they try to defend themselves against the local authority, especially after they have taken a child. You just basically never get your child back. It's very rare that children are returned. Therefore, we went to Brussels to expose this scandal and to ask to help us to abolish this practice. Discovered thanks to two children whom we labeled the whistleblower kids. So child snatching is the term that was actually coined by Christopher Booker, who writes regularly in The Telegraph. And he was written more than anybody else about individual cases, but also the system as a whole. The family courts were made secret, I was told, by Sue Reed, who is a journalist for the Daily Mail and who helped to uncover a scandal called the Cleveland scandal that was in the late 80s and involved some 120 children. So the judiciary kind of took a revenge, he told me, because the Daily Mail won a case and turned family courts into secret courts, which means neither mainstream media can attend or the public. So we, as online activists, could never be there either. But as McKenzie Friends, we at least could lift the veil of secrecy and could go into courts. We didn't necessarily get right of audience, but at least we could see what's going on and could experience firsthand how completely unfair the system is. it resulted in forced adoptions, which the government claims only happens in 7% of the cases of children that are in care, but recently John Hemming published that it's actually 31%. The fact that children get abused in care, whether in private homes or in public foster homes, has become more and more common knowledge, at least amongst the victims, but is of course a very, very horrible thing to have to live up to as a parent, and can't possibly be made a parent to the local authorities. And that's why they prefer to commit crimes, to cover up crimes, as we've seen. But then comes the worst of all cases with 2 child witnesses, 20 child victims altogether, 70 plus named abusers in 8 schools, and then you kind of freak out because you don't want to believe it. You just can't believe it and can't imagine that this is happening. So, amongst us McKenzie Friends and turned into angels is a fabulous woman who's produced reports on these 3 levels. And hopefully they can make a difference. Hopefully there are people who read them. But I submitted them to the Vice President of the EU Commission in Brussels. So at Lancern, what does we have our reality is very, very, very different. So we've used change.org and YouTube and other platforms, but in my case, both change.org and Facebook have deleted my accounts. So I've been pretty paralyzed and amputated in certain ways, but I keep going. What else can one do? Social media exposure is our own only and main way forward, and that was the advice that I got from Ian Joseph. Forced adoption, that is called forced-adoption.com, and he who spoke at the event that we organized on the 5th of November when the MEPs came to London. Yes, we've become whistleblowers, and we've blown the whistle on public institutions in the public interest for public protection. That's become our mission, our self-appointed job, voluntary. Nobody pays us to do it, but we have to do it. McKenzie Friends in the public interest as advocates, McKenzie Angels for public protection. That's our new level of activity.